Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Juan. As my final substantive part, I will talk about the drawback of beta and my personal recommendation for solution to that drawback. Okay, so the drawback of beta, I want to real quick make a review about beta. Beta is useful for us to calculate the cost of equity. By the definition, beta is the correlation between the stock return and market return. It will show us how the stock did change based on a certain change of the market. So in this case, stock return is dependent variable and the market return is independent. Okay, so the first disadvantage of beta, I want to say that the beta just reflects the history. One thing it doesn't tell us is what the beta will be next year. As you know, the calculations are strictly historical and say nothing about the company will do in the future. The second drawback I want to say is the relationship between the stock and only one chosen market. So, the beta is calculate how the stock change based on a certain return of a market, of one market. So the chosen market would be S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, or Russell, and one of them is picked to compare with our stock. So it will be some bias out here, right? Okay, so the last drawback I want to say is the depiction of cost of equity as a whole for our segment of company. So if the company, when you think about the company with a multinational business, or the company with a lot of sector of business like service, construction, hospital. So if a company has all those segments, and they use only one beta for all of them, is it fair? No, I don't think so. I think all segments should have a different beta for them. So finally, my recommendation for the drawback of beta is should be in one sentence. We should diversify the beta for calculating the value of a company. From that, we will diversify the cost of capital. So for each segment of company, for each time of valuation, we will have a different cost of capital. And I believe doing that way will give us a more accurate result of the value of company. So first one, I want to say we should use the adjusted beta for constant growth period. In other words, so we should use the adjusted beta in calculating the terminal value of companies with the constant growth model. So in class, Nicholas group has talked about adjusted beta, and I think it's very interesting and very useful for us to calculate the constant growth periods, because adjusted beta give us a whole picture for a long run beta in the future. So I think it's very suitable to calculate the constant growth period. So the second point, the second solution I recommend for dealing with the beta is we should diversify the beta. So in that case, we should diversify different costs of capital for valuating company. So first, for the different time frame, we should have a different beta. If we evaluate a company using discounted cash flow, we will forecast for 5 or 10 years in the future, and in each period of the years in future, we predict that the company should be growing or in a recession, and for that period we should have a relevant beta. So the relevant beta in that case means the beta will be calculated based on a certain historical time frame. For example, we predict that the company will work in a recession economy in 2020, and in that time the beta to calculate for the cost of capital would be based on stock return and market return in a historical time frame when the economy went to recession. For example, in 2012 we should use a beta of the stock and market return in time frame of 2007 to 2010. Okay, so the second one, we should differentiate the beta for different segments of the company. So we should break down the beta for each of valuation segment. I come up with two kind of diversification here. So first one is for a multinational company. So for each of the segment, we should use a different beta. For example, Apple. So Apple, they are a multiple company, so they would have multiple national segment. So for each segment we evaluate with a different beta. So with Apple, so when we evaluate the US segment, so we will have the beta calculated based on the Apple stock return and S&P 500, and calculate the business segment in Japan. We will calculate the beta based on Apple stock return and Nikkei 225. In that way, China segment valuation, we would use the beta based on Apple stock return and China Shanghai Composite Index. Okay, and a different diversification, I would say the business segment. So if the company has a lot of business segments, so we have to break down the segment, and each segment we have to evaluate it individually with a certain beta. For example, a company has let's say a company has two business segments like computer and service. So for the computer, we have to evaluate it individually. So in this case, the beta for this segment will be based on the company stock and the computer industry market return. So we will use the market return as many companies working in the computer industry. And the second one, for the service business segment of the company, we will calculate the beta based on that company stock and the service industry market return. So after calculate that two beta, we will apply for the two business segment, and we will evaluate them separately. And after have the value of each of them, we will use the weighted average of that valuation, and we will finally come up with the final value of company. Thank you for listening, and good luck on your final examination.